Righto, first up on the show today, a generic boat ramp hardy anywhere in the country, but the moment of truth has arrived. We have developed the beast, spent an inordinate amount of time, money and effort into building this boat, but today is the time where we find out how it goes.
Exactly right. We've fished out of it. We love it. We think it's a pretty good thing, but we've got the big guns from Yamaha down here with all their scientific equipment, Nick, to see if the figures actually stack up.
That's right, mate. We need to quantify how the beast goes now as opposed to how it did in its original guise.
Correct.
This is, as we have mentioned, the moment of truth.
Yamaha Project 350. Unleash the beast.
Right now, she's the most famous 23-foot Bertram in the world. Just a few months ago, it was a very different story. We came to know Beast as a run-down, clapped-out clunker sitting in a mechanic's yard in Melbourne. To say she needed some TLC was a bit of an understatement.
The stern drive was removed and chucked away. The team at Penguin Composites remodelled the interior, polished the exterior and fashioned a hull extension capable of carrying the world's biggest outboard, the mighty Yamaha F350 V8 4-stroke.
From there, she was sent to the Craftsman at Lewis Marine for final fit-up and electronic installation. The end result is without doubt the toughest looking Bertie 23 on earth. But the question now is, how does she stack up? All right, the man that is going to perform our test is Glenn Gibson from Yamaha, mate. Welcome back to Unleash the Beast.
Thanks for having us here.
When you saw this boat last time, it was before we'd done any work to it whatsoever. Are you surprised?
I did not think this was possible. I mean, have a go at it. The room where the engine used to be, the outboard's out there. We've got all this cockpit space. Awesome, awesome.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about the beast, which has been good. A lot of people are sort of wondering how it's going to perform with the big V8 Yamaha on the back of it. Today, we're going to actually find out.
Yeah, first of all, we're going to take some measurements of litres per hour over kilometres per hour. We're also going to do some decibel readings to see which one's quieter. And then finally, we're going to do an acceleration graph, which will give us speed over time, and it'll show us which one performs the best.
So we did the exact same tests with the old engine that was in it?
Yes, exactly the same.
We're going to compare the two. We'll find out in an hour or so. There's also some clever stuff that we'll show you. We've got the engine talking to our sonar and GPS units. Let's get started, mate. Let's get testing.
Excellent. Can't wait.
The testing procedure is fairly simple but rigorous. Speed, fuel consumption and noise are all measured in 100 RPM increments through the entire rev range. In this case, from 600 at idle to flat out on the rev limiter at 6,100 RPM.
Flat out.
We then turn around and do it all again to eliminate the effects of wind and tide. Exactly the same test we did with the stern drive a few months ago.
All right, just deep in the heart of our testing session. While all this stuff kind of looks sort of technical, Glenn, and not generally what most people would do, the thing about these new Yamaha 4-stroke fuel-injected outboards is that they generate all this information anyway, whether you choose to look at it or not.
That's right. Through Enemy A2000, we have the ability now to network into our multi-hubs and into the sounder equipment, which on this boat we've got the HDS7 on the downstairs station and upstairs. So we have a full instrumentation on the depth sounder, which gives us all the information, and it's without running a wire down to the engine. It's all generated from what is already behind the dash.
Now the beauty of this, you might think, oh yeah, but I don't want to have a 350 horsepower outboard, but you do not need them.
No, from now it is available from the F30F, so the 4-stroke 30 horsepower, right through to our biggest of the range, the V8 F350.
So if you've got a little tinny with a fuel injected 30 Yamaha and a low ounce sounder, for example, all this data is available to you free of charge. It's boating for the new millennium, Glenn, isn't it?
Oh, that's right.
One of the things that has really struck me with this new Yamaha V8 is the noise of it. Here I am standing right here, we're doing 4,000 revs at about 60 kilometres an hour. Now, I remember when we first launched Beast with her inboard inner, and I did a similar thing, and this was the result. Certainly did go all right, but I don't think she goes as well as it does now with the Yamaha V8 on the back. This is unbelievable. You could literally be on the phone, sitting right here, having a conversation. It's an amazing bit of technology.
Righto, time to crunch the numbers, and from a noise perspective, the transformation of Beast has been nothing short of amazing. The red line up here is the old stern drive, and you can see it even at pretty modest revs, she's well above 100 decibels, which according to the experts is about 16 times as loud as normal conversation. The blue line down here is the Yamaha, and you can see it's a long way below, just a tick above 90 at cruising speed, which actually, because of the funny decibel scale, is about half the amount of noise, and that is a big improvement, half the noise.
Well, as you can see, it goes unbelievably well. The amount of power in this thing is just phenomenal. When Nick flattened it, you've got to hold on. But there's another component to Beast which has also caused us quite a bit of work over the last few months, and that's the trailer. It's a very important part of any boat.
Much like Beast herself, the poor old trailer was a little run down, but as they say in the classics, it still had good bones.
Yep, the rollers were stuffed, the brakes didn't work, the winch was cactus, the lights were deceased, and the tyres about to blow. But other than that, perfect.
All right, now we have taken the Beast's trailer down to King Tow Bars and Trailers, and I'm joined by Scotty Henderson, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andrew. Nice to be here.
Scotty, when you first laid eyes on this beautiful trailer, what did you think?
Rubbish.
Rubbish. Mate, it does need some work, to be fair, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's too far gone to just give it a wash and a paint. It's just past that.
We'll go through exactly what you're going to do to it shortly to restore it, but I guess the point is everyone that's got a boat has a trailer, and if you do nothing to your trailer, if you just leave it sitting in the paddock, if you neglect it,
yep,
this is what happens?
Exactly.
First thing to go was the dirty old rollers, which left nasty marks on the boat, replaced with nice new grey ones.
Then the all-important braking system was renewed from top to bottom. New bearings, hubs and rotors, new calipers, new lines, and all driven by an electronic override sensor brake system. Then for good measure, a new winch and a full electrical rewire.
The end result, a registered roadworthy and most importantly reliable method of road transport for Beast. But enough of that, let's get back on the water.
All right, I've just jumped off Beast onto our camera boat for the day, which is the Whitley. One of the tests that we've got to do is an acceleration test. There's a computer on board with an aerial, and it will give us in a graphical format how quickly she accelerates, so we can compare her to the Beast of old. So go and go. It looks like she accelerates quite quickly to me.
The acceleration test is yet another big win for the mighty Yami. As you can see from the blue line here, Beast explodes out of the water to 60 kilometres an hour in just 7 seconds flat, whereas it takes the stern drive, well, exactly twice as long. So if you average it out across the range, the Yamaha is 40% quicker than the stern drive. It's kind of like comparing, say, an Aston Martin to an ice cream truck.
One of the other things that we noticed about the Beast is because it's an older boat, almost 20 years old, it's a heavy boat. It weighs 3 tonne. And in a situation like this where we've got wind against tide and sort of half a metre of chop, it's quite unpleasant. The Beast just powers straight through it. Yeah, whatever. It just goes straight through the sea instead of bouncing up and down over the top of it. No substitute for weight.
There is no doubt that all that extra weight helps Beast tame those seas, but by the same token, it does take quite a bit of fuel to get it all happening. This graph shows litres per nautical mile on the left and boat speed on the bottom. And as you can see, it's a pretty close run thing. The thing to remember here though is that the Yamaha has an extra 50 horsepower. That gives you massive reserves of acceleration and speed without any penalty in fuel consumption. So there you have it, folks. New Beast beats old Beast in every single aspect.
And so there she is, Gibbo, safe and sound back on the trailer, the beast. It's been a real journey of discovery for Andrew and I, this project. What are your thoughts?
Well, the figures stack up. The outboard motor definitely wins over the old stern drive, and with the amount of Huntsmans and Bertrams that are laying around in marinas all over Australia that are half in repair, failed engines, look, why not? Gain cockpit space, add a transom, add an outboard, and away you go with reliable boating.
Usability is the big selling point for this. You know, when we first got that boat, you'd hit the key, it may not start, it might overheat, it might do something funny with this. You just put her in, bang, away you go. So, Gibbo, the beast has been unleashed.